Last week on Salty Tales.
It better be done, because if it's not, I'm gonna scream and cry. This is useless. And here I am using it anyway, like it's gonna start working because I'm telling it to. This is turning out to be a pain in the ass.
This is Chris, and I'm Cindy, and this is our salty dog Trooper and our salty kitty Stella. And we've got some salty tales to tell you. So make sure you continue watching and also click the subscribe button so you don't miss any in the future.
It is time to start replacing the isinglass. The weather is so cold and so rainy. We're gonna need this when we launch the boat. So I'm gonna start shifting to these because this is something I can do without Chris. And that way, once we get that done and installed, we can have these ready to go. So this was one of the panels that got damaged. This one's not that bad. It's just this little slit right here, but we're gonna replace it. And I watched this really cool technique on the Sailrite YouTube channel, and I'm gonna score where the old isinglass goes, like right along where the stitch line is. And then I'm gonna create a little tab so I can peel it off. So let me just kind of show you. I don't wanna go all the way through, but I wanna make sure that I score it so it'll be able to rip away. And then they said in the corner, you're actually gonna cut like into it, like this little tab right here, because that's where you're gonna go in and pull it away. Urgh. Wow, this stuff is thick. This is 40 gauge isinglass. Now that I get a feeling for it, I'm not gonna be afraid to score it pretty good. All right, so that gives me a place to reach in and pull it.
So now that I cut that corner out for where I'm gonna pull it from, I'm gonna go ahead and just score all of the seams in the isinglass panel, and that way it should just pull out.
Now the reason you're leaving the old isinglass in is it keeps the canvas framing in shape, so you're able to sew the new isinglass in there. All right, then you're gonna lay the new glass over it, clip it into place, sew it on, and then you're able to rip the old glass out.
So I'm speeding this up for you. It took forever. I wish it had taken as long as you're gonna see it for, but every step of this process just took so much time, and this project ended up taking me like way too much time.
I was gonna clip it into place, but it sticks really well to the old isinglass, so I don't have to. I'm just gonna sew it in, and then we're gonna see what happens. This is going through 2 layers of canvas, a layer of like some sort of like insert in there to keep that form, and 2 layers of 40 gauge isinglass, and this is amazing.
So as I sew this panel, I realize having this Sailrite sewing machine is a game changer. Half of the battle with doing projects in the past for the boat, or even, for the home, because I would sew curtains and things, would be the needles would break, the tension wouldn't sit right, the thread would snap. There would just be all these issues. And I have to tell you, this machine just sews through everything that I'm putting through it, and it doesn't even hesitate, and the needles aren't breaking, and the thread isn't bunching up. I have no knots. It was just easy peasy. But stay tuned, because the rest of the project is not easy peasy.
I got the new piece pulled out that I sewed in because I accidentally cut it here when I was trying to cut this better to pull this out. This is not pulling out. So then I was like, well, I'll just take it out and sew the new one in, but it does get kind of flimsy. So I don't know what to do. I don't know. Oy, 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 oy. I mean, their idea is great, but it's not ripping out. I scored it, and it's just, I think it's too thick and brittle. I don't know. Come on, sail right. You had such a good idea. So I'm gonna have to unstitch the old isinglass and stitch on new isinglass. That's just how the cookie crumbles. I'm redoing it. So I have the new isinglass here. I have the original piece of isinglass unstitched. I'm gonna cut it as a template and then install it into the frame. Because I have no way to like clip this in place and get it to like stay because that binding tape doesn't work. So I think I'm just going to keep it in place as I stitch. I think it'll work. I can't keep making mistakes. I'm like, argh. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. The sewing part was definitely easier with the other method. It just wasn't easier to get the old isinglass out. I can do this. Ready?
So I don't know who else can relate to this, but it's like you come up with a plan, you move forward with the plan doesn't work, and you have to redo the whole thing. Arrgh!
It looks great. I just hope it fits. I don't know why there was so much extra on the bottom. It's a little concerning. I don't remember there being that much extra on the original piece. We'll find out. If we're not able to snap it in, we'll know. Done! One piece done, 3 to go. Kill me now. Okay, this one is gonna be a little bit harder because the original isinglass is toast. But the good news is this is just a straight like rectangle. So I'm just gonna measure the width and the length and then cut a complete rectangle and then just sew it in. And in theory, it'll work. We will see. Oh my gosh, I hope this sits okay. It actually looks like it might work. Yay! I don't wish this on anyone. I think because I'm trying to repair what's there and what's there is old, that's making it harder. If I was making something new, it would probably be like way easier. There wouldn't be hardware in the way, there wouldn't be zippers in the way, there wouldn't be falling apart canvas everywhere. You know, I wouldn't be dealing with old isinglass. I would just be sewing new fabric onto new isinglass. So I don't know, maybe I'm joking. Maybe I'm kidding when I say it would be easier if it was like a new canvas, but I don't know, we'll see. Ooh, these are gonna roll up very nice though to go in the straps. like way easier than they used to. So that's a big bonus. All right, well that's it for now. I'll be back with more canvas work though.
We decided to do our own version of boat yoga right in our dining room with our canvas because we were trying to test fit to make sure the pieces were zipping in correctly, and then we could repair the broken zipper.
I think as long as this is pinned here, you just kind of unzip it and line up the seat.
All right, but we gotta line up the other one.
Yeah, I think
Sew that
sew
and then
that
do the
and come
next
back.
one.
Yeah.
Which means we have to zip these out. Gonna be easier.
Go ahead,
Twister.
go ahead.
We're playing Twister. Yeah, I don't think we need to roll all that out. We should be able to just do
I was giving you some room because otherwise this would have run into the dining room table,
What would have?
the sewing machine. That's why I pulled it back just a little bit. I was trying to roll it.
Yeah.
Delicate. Delicate. You could probably go past the seam and the zipper and then go on the zipper. Good.
I'm making sure
Yeah,
so I
I'm
don't
scared.
sew it twice, huh?
I'm scared.
So am I.
I got good tension and all that. Are you good with how it's going?
Maybe.
It seemed so scary and intimidating to sew into our canvas. I don't know why, but once we got going, it was fine.
When our friends ask, how was your winter? We'll be like, watch our channel. Boat project after boat project after boat project.
I'm sure you can all relate if you have a boat, but I gotta tell you, if it wasn't for Chris stepping in and helping with this part, there is no way I could have gotten this sewn.
I'm at the boat alone for the first time, alone in the whole winter, I think, for the whole winter. I can't get up this ladder by myself, but Chris is at work and I needed to pop by to grab one last piece of canvas. So I'm gonna try to get up this ladder by myself, but I'm gonna make sure I film it because it might turn out to be a disaster. Because if I fall, we gotta make sure you see it or it didn't happen. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, I did it! I did it! Oh my gosh. Yay! Oh, it feels good to be here. I can't wait. We were supposed to launch like weeks ago. You can see how that turned out. And I always do that. And our plan this week was to launch. They don't launch on weekends, which I wish we had known that when we stored the boat here, because Chris had this, mandatory overtime coming up, and his only day off is Saturday, and we know that. So we were hoping to launch it before the outage, but I wish we had known they didn't launch on weekends, because I don't think we would have kept the boat here. I don't think we would have kept it here because of that. So now what we have to do, and I'm not thrilled at all. There's that funky smell. This boat has like a little bit of a funky smell and we just cannot figure it out. But anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have them launch it Friday and put it on the service dock. And then of course I'm gonna be here because of what happened last year when our marina where we kept it partially sunk our boat. And then I'm gonna make sure it's plugged in because the marina last year didn't plug it in, and if your batteries are dead from the winter and your boat isn't plugged in and you start taking on water, your bilge pump doesn't work. Well, the marina put it on the fuel dock because they didn't launch it in time and it needed fuel, and the fuel dock was closed. So they put it in, tied it up at the fuel dock, and left for the night. I left it overnight and it took on water and it partially sunk. And then they emailed me to tell me the boat partially sunk. I don't know if we've told you that full story, but I was livid. I was so mad when I saw that email. I called Chris at work. Like, I never call him at work. And I said, you need to call the marina because if I deal with this, we're going to get kicked out. I was so mad, so mad. We were able to fix all the wiring that it damaged because little did Cindy know, electrical wiring, once it's put into salt water, it corrodes immediately, like immediately. And I was like, oh my goodness. So we had to redo a lot of wiring and I was so mad at them. Not even like, I'm sorry. No. So anyway, we're not comfortable with any marina launching our boat without us being present and staying at the boat afterwards. But this marina did say the service dock does have power, so we can plug in overnight. And I was like, okay, so that's what we're gonna do. But unfortunately, the weather that was supposed to be beautiful for Saturday is now turning really bad. So I don't know what we're gonna do. We really need to get the boat in because we wanna start bringing Trooper and Stella here because they need to start getting used to being back at the boat. Well, Stella's never been on the boat. And Trooper has horrible anxiety. And so we like to bring him on and, keep him later, like, because then it's quieter and there's not as many people and he can get used to it then. Because we're taking trips this year and they're coming with us. Like, I am not going to keep paying pet sitters for them to sit at home in the lap of luxury, like all this money so we can go on boat trips. No, they're coming. I'm replacing the isinglass on the other two front panels because I already did two. Well, I did one of the front panels and then one of the corner panels because that was what was damaged. And I was like, you know what? I have enough. I bought enough to replace the other two front panels because it's not a real windshield. It's really hard at night to see out of it when it's cloudy. And this is, I don't think you can tell. Yeah, you can tell. See? It's very cloudy. It's old. So I am going to replace the isinglass in the other two front panels. So we're going to have a beautiful clear windshield. Well, sort of, to be able to boat this year. Because we plan on boating a lot, like a lot. Let me tell you guys, stick it out with our boring stuff on the channel. We're about to like really start some boating adventures this year. I am so excited about the trips that we have planned. I can't even tell you. I'm not going to tell you because I want you to look forward to it. But we have, I think it's like 6 different trips planned, and one of them's a big one. It's a pretty big one. Actually, 2 of them are pretty big, but one of them's really big. It's like we're going to take a whole week and do it. So stick it out because we've got some really cool salty tales coming up to tell. I have the next 2 panels cut with the new isinglass. The other one's over there. And they are ready to sew in. So I ran into a roadblock. The canvas was sewn over the front of this part, but then over the front of this part. So it was stitched in to the zipper end. We're not doing that. So I'm just cutting that corner. We're gonna sew the whole thing on the inside. I don't know why it was done the other way, but it was. So we're just pulling out the old isinglass so we can stitch in the new. So of course I'm on the last panel and I had a great idea. So I'm going to try it out and see if it works, because if it works, then it'll work for you. It sticks to the old isinglass like really, really well. That holds it in place. So I was like, well, why don't I just unstitch like a section and start sewing the new one in and peel back the old one as I go. We'll see. It sounds great, right? I think the top is going to be the hardest, so I'm going to get that out of the way because I like to get the hardest part out of the way. Like it should. Ah, crunch. I thought I had a fix. I mean, it's definitely keeping its shape a little better, but... I don't think this is the answer. I thought I was onto a great idea. I'm just gonna have to struggle with the tape and the binder clips and all of that. It's like moving a dead body.
Oh, it's not.
Don't even want to know. So Chris is waterproofing the canvas. Are we gonna have enough? All right then. So he mixed clear silicone and mineral spirits. We saw it on YouTube. So if you see it on YouTube, it must work. But it did, it looked like it worked in the video. So yeah, you just mix it up and you paint it on and then you let it cure. Sorry about all the racket. Our house next door is an Airbnb, so yeah, you mix it up, you let it cure after you paint it on, let it cure for 24 hours, and then
It's supposed to be waterproof. So we'll see. So yeah, the Airbnb next door, it sleeps like 12 adults and God knows how many kids, so it's loud. We just think it's great. Right, Chris? Yeah. Which side's which, do we know?
I know, I don't know.
Let's see where not knowing.
I think that's the front, because isn't there a little one? What's that?
There's a seam undone there. Nope. Yep. I don't know. I have no idea what goes where.
I'll spread it out and then go from there. How's that sound, Cindy?
I guess so. Chrissy. Huh. This waterproofing stuff is weird. Well, wait, the back panel only has one zipper, right? Or two zippers, and then the front has three. Is that right?
No, the back has 3 as well.
Ah, jeez. I don't know.
But it's like a door.
That's like a little corner piece. Actually, I think this is the front. Yeah. Yep. We gotta spin the whole thing around.
Let's fold the whole thing over. Yeah, that's confirmed because we didn't saw a patch over.
Yeah, I already confirmed it.
Grab that in.
Oh, I was gonna go this way. You can go that way. No?
Alright. Self-controlling.
I know. It's because I'm smart. I was gonna try to do this alone. That's hilarious. Very, very pretty sunset.
What's that?
Very pretty sunset, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
You're a pretty sunset, Chris. All right.
Yeah, I love it.
Please tell
my
me that's
shoes.
your shoe.
See, I can make it happen.
I was very concerned about my well-being. So far away. That should have been a bigger laugh, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire.